The story opens on a cold, fog-covered evening as a group of new students arrive at St. Helena's Girls' Hostel, a massive stone building tucked away in the outskirts of the city. The atmosphere is heavy with silence, the kind that feels alive, as if the walls themselves have memories. The caretaker, an old woman named Mrs. Farida, welcomes them with a tired smile, her eyes betraying a hint of unease. Among the new arrivals is Zoya, a curious and spirited girl from Karachi, who instantly feels drawn to the strange aura of the hostel. The girls settle into their assigned rooms, laughing and chatting about city life, unaware of the shadow that lingers over the place. Later that night, during dinner, one of the seniors casually mentions room 23, a room that has remained locked for years. The conversation turns serious when another student adds, "Whoever stayed there last never checked out." The room is said to be haunted by a girl who used to live there, but no one remembers her name. The girls dismiss it as a hostel myth, though the mention leaves a faint chill in the air. That night, as Zoya walks past the corridor leading to room 23, she notices something strange. The door, once bolted shut, now hangs slightly open. The faint creak of its hinges echoes down the hall. She feels her curiosity overpowering her fear. Peeking through the gap, she sees nothing but darkness. And yet, she senses a presence, still and waiting. As she turns to leave, the door creaks wider, as if inviting her in. A faint breath escapes from inside, not wind, not a whisper, something else. Zoya steps back, uneasy. The lights flicker once, and the door slowly closes on its own. The first night ends in silence, but the silence feels aware. The next morning, sunlight barely reaches the long corridors of St. Helena's Hostel. A faint mist lingers near the windows, and everything feels oddly still, too quiet for a building full of students. Zoya can't shake off what she saw the previous night. The memory of the slightly open door, the strange breath, the way the air thickened around her, it haunts her thoughts. During breakfast, her roommate Alicia notices her silence. "You didn't sleep, did you?" she asks. Zoya hesitates, then tells her about room 23. Alicia frowns, warning her not to get involved. "That place, it's better left alone. There's a reason the staff doesn't clean that floor after dark." Zoya laughs nervously, pretending to dismiss it, but the curiosity burning inside her refuses to die. Later that day, Zoya sneaks back to the upper floor where room 23 waits. The corridor feels colder now. The air smells faintly of damp earth and metal, like old blood. The door is still slightly ajar, just as before. She hesitates for a moment, then gently pushes it open. Inside, everything is covered in dust. The walls are cracked, the ceiling blackened by age. A single wooden chair stands in the center of the room, facing the wall. Zoya steps inside carefully, her shoes crunching over broken glass. She whispers, "Hello," but her voice feels swallowed by the air. Then she hears it, a whisper, faint and close. Not from behind her, but right beside her ear. "Don't make me look up." Zoya freezes. Her heart thunders as she stumbles backward, knocking over a metal cup that clatters loudly. The sound echoes unnaturally long, like the room itself is breathing. She rushes out, slamming the door behind her. As she catches her breath, she realizes something chilling. She never saw anyone inside, but someone definitely spoke to her. And from inside the closed room, the chair she saw earlier slowly turns, facing the door. The following morning begins with chaos. Students gather in the common hall, whispering nervously. One of the girls, Hania, a cheerful senior who had been staying in the room next to Zoya's, is missing. Her bed is untouched, her books are scattered, and her phone lies on the floor with a cracked screen. The caretaker, Mrs. Farida, tries to calm everyone down, insisting that Hania might have gone out early. But the tension in her voice betrays her fear. Zoya's unease grows. The memory of the whisper, "Don't make me look up," plays in her mind again and again. When she walks past room 23, she notices something new. Faint scratch marks beneath the door, as if someone had been dragged inside. The marks continue for a few inches, and then abruptly stop. That evening, Alicia confronts Zoya. "You went in there again, didn't you?" Zoya tries to deny it, but Alicia can see the fear in her eyes. "Whatever's in that room," she says quietly, "it doesn't want to be found." Later that night, the hostel's power flickers. The generator hums, but the lights dim to a sickly yellow. Zoya lies awake, listening. Somewhere down the corridor, a faint thud echoes, followed by another. Then, silence, except for a slow, dragging sound, moving closer. Zoya steps out into the hallway. The air feels heavy, thick with moisture. She peers into the darkness and sees a faint silhouette at the far end. A girl, head bowed, standing completely still. "Hania," she whispers. No response. She takes a cautious step forward, and the figure tilts its head slightly, as if listening. Then it moves, vanishing into the shadows. When morning comes, Hania's name is struck off the attendance list. No one speaks of her again. But Zoya knows what she saw, and she knows the girl in the hallway wasn't Hania anymore. The atmosphere in St. Helena's hostel shifts completely after Hania's disappearance. Laughter fades from the corridors, whispers replace it. Classes continue, but the students avoid the upper floor where room 23 lies silent, a dark presence looming just beyond sight. Zoya, now pale and sleep-deprived, can't focus on anything. Every night, she dreams of a girl sitting in the corner, her head bowed, whispering her name. One afternoon, Alicia decides to help her friend find answers. Together, they sneak into the hostel's archival storage, a dusty, dimly lit room in the basement. Stacks of old records, student files, and faded photographs fill the shelves. As they dig through the papers, Alicia finds a report dated 5 years earlier, a name written in trembling handwriting. Nashina Boss, room 23, cause of death, unknown. The file includes a photograph of a girl with long black hair, eyes calm yet sorrowful. Zoya's breath catches. She recognizes the same presence from her dreams. The report mentions strange occurrences before Nashin's death, sudden power failures, missing students, and a pattern of unexplained cold spots in the hostel. Alicia's hands shake as she flips to the last page. The final note, written by the former warden, reads, "Do not let anyone make her look up." The words send a chill through both of them. Before they can process it, a faint creaking sound echoes through the basement. One of the lights flickers violently. From the far end of the room, a stack of files falls to the ground, seemingly by itself. The girls freeze. Zoya whispers, "We shouldn't be here." But before they leave, Alicia notices something. The folder marked Nashina Boss is warm to the touch, as if recently held. As they walk out, the corridor lights above flicker in sequence, following their steps. And from behind the locked archive door, a faint voice breathes out. "You found me." That night, the hostel feels unnaturally still. Even the crickets outside have gone silent. Zoya lies awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts consumed by the name Nashina Boss. The whisper from the archive still echoes in her mind. "You found me." Her roommate, Alicia, has drifted into uneasy sleep, but Zoya senses something moving in the shadows of the room. She sits up slowly. The air feels colder, dense, as if the darkness has weight. Her eyes fall on the mirror near her bed. At first, she sees only her reflection, until she notices a faint outline behind her. A girl, sitting on the floor, head bowed, hair cascading over her face. Zoya's breath catches. She turns around quickly, no one is there. But in the mirror, the figure remains. Panicking, Zoya covers the mirror with a blanket and rushes to wake Alicia. Before she can speak, Alicia opens her eyes suddenly, whispering, "She's here." The blanket over the mirror begins to shift slightly, as if something is moving underneath. In terror, the girls run out into the hallway. The power flickers, plunging them into alternating flashes of light and dark. Every few seconds, the corridor stretches unnaturally long, and Zoya can hear the soft shuffle of bare feet following them. They reach the stairs, gasping for breath. But when Zoya glances back, she freezes. Room 23's door is wide open, even though they're on a different floor. Inside, the faint silhouette of Nashin sits waiting. Alicia grabs her hand, pulling her away, but Zoya feels something clutch her wrist, cold, firm, unrelenting. She screams, and the entire corridor lights up in a blinding flash. When the lights stabilize, Alicia stands alone. Zoya is gone. Only her bracelet lies on the floor, warm to the touch, as if freshly removed. And far away, in the silence of room 23, the sound of soft breathing continues, slow, steady, and alive. The next morning, Alicia wakes up trembling. Zoya's bed is empty, the sheets perfectly folded, as though she never existed. But the faint smell of her perfume still lingers in the air. Panic sets in as Alicia runs to the warden's office, insisting that Zoya has vanished. Mrs. Farida frowns, avoiding eye contact. Students leave without notice all the time, she mutters, but her trembling hands betray her calm tone. Alicia isn't convinced. She searches the hostel, questioning others. Most of the students act uneasy, refusing to talk about Zoya. One girl whispers, "She shouldn't have gone near room 23. Alicia demands to know what that means, but the girl just walks away, muttering a prayer under her breath. That night, Alicia decides to confront the truth herself. She takes a flashlight and heads toward the upper corridor. The silence there feels unnatural, the kind that swallows every sound. As she walks, she begins to hear faint tapping noises inside the walls. At first, she thinks it's rats, until the tapping forms a rhythm. 3 slow knocks. Pause. Then 3 more. Her flashlight flickers. The sound moves along the walls, following her. When she reaches room 23, she sees the door slightly open again, the darkness inside thicker than shadow. Taking a deep breath, she peers in. Zoya is there, sitting on the floor, head bowed, motionless. Alicia's voice breaks as she whispers, "Zoya?" There's no response. The light trembles in her shaking hands. Slowly, Zoya lifts one arm, pointing toward the wall behind her. Alicia turns the light that way and gasps. Dozens of faces, pale, silent, half-formed, seem to press out from inside the wall, like souls trapped behind stone. Then Zoya speaks, her voice hollow, layered with whispers. She's awake now, and she's hungry. The flashlight dies. Darkness swallows everything. And from the pitch-black corridor, a faint hum of breathing begins to rise, multiplying, echoing from every wall. Morning breaks over St. Helena's hostel, but the light brings no comfort. Alicia sits in the courtyard, her hands trembling, replaying the horrors of last night. Zoya's hollow voice, the faces in the wall, the whisper that felt too close to her ear. No one believes her. The warden claims Zoya has been transferred to another hostel. The official record even lists a signed exit slip, forged, with Zoya's name scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting. Determined to find the truth, Alicia returns to the archives. She searches deeper this time, opening locked cabinets and unmarked boxes. Dust fills the air like ash. At the very back, she discovers an old register, far older than the hostel itself. Its pages detail the original structure, not built as a school, but as a sanatorium from the 1800s. The final pages describe patients, young girls who were kept in isolation, their madness, treated through silence and confinement. One name repeats often, Nashin Abbas. But as Alicia reads further, she realizes something chilling. Nashin wasn't a patient at all. She was a caretaker who tried to stop the doctors from performing a forbidden ritual. The ritual was meant to purify the souls of the afflicted by trapping their spirits inside the walls. When Nashin intervened, they punished her. They sealed her inside room 23 alive. Alicia's hands tremble as the truth settles in. The curse wasn't born from death, it was born from torture. Nashin's soul never left. It multiplied, feeding on fear, drawing strength from every new resident who dared disturb her peace. As Alicia closes the book, a faint humming fills the air, the same melody she heard from the corridor last night. The walls seem to vibrate softly, as if something behind them is listening again. A whisper curls through the silence. "You know now? So you belong to me." The lights in the basement flicker, and Alicia feels something brush past her, cold, invisible fingers sliding across her neck. That night, the air inside St. Helena's hostel feels heavier, as if the building itself is breathing. The temperature drops sharply. The walls seem to exhale cold mist. Alicia lies awake in her bed, clutching the old register she found in the archives. Nashin's story keeps replaying in her mind. The torture, the ritual, the sealed room. But now, she begins to sense something more disturbing. The curse isn't confined to room 23 anymore. It's spreading. At 2:47 a.m., Alicia hears a noise outside her room. Faint sobbing, distant at first, then slowly growing nearer. She opens her door slightly and peers into the corridor. Every door is shut tight, but the sobbing continues, moving closer, stopping right outside her door. She holds her breath. The sobs shift into a low hum, the same melody Nashin used to hum in the sanatorium records. Suddenly, the lights begin to flicker violently. The sobbing stops. When Alicia looks down, she sees wet footprints appearing on the floor, one by one, leading away from her door, down the corridor toward the stairwell. She follows cautiously. As she descends, she hears the faint creaking of doors opening on every floor. Students begin to stir, confused and frightened. Some whisper that they can hear voices in their rooms, calling their names softly. One girl screams, and the lights in the entire building go out. Panic spreads. Alicia grabs her phone for light, but the screen glitches, showing distorted images, her own face, and behind her, Zoya's silhouette, head still bowed. Suddenly, the sound of scraping echoes through the walls, like nails dragging against stone. Faint faces start to form across the plaster, pale, hollow-eyed, whispering in unison. She's awake. She's not alone anymore. Alicia realizes with dread that the curse now inhabits every part of the hostel. Every wall, every corridor, every shadow. The building itself has become Nashin's body, and every girl inside, her next breath. The night turns to chaos. Screams echo from every corridor as doors slam shut one after another. Alicia, trembling, runs down the stairs, shouting for help, but the main entrance is sealed tight, as if the door itself has fused with the wall. She pounds her fists against it, crying out for the security guard, but no one answers. The windows are covered in thick condensation, impossible to see through. She tries to break one with a chair. The glass doesn't shatter. Instead, it ripples like liquid, showing distorted reflections of her face merging with others. Alicia stumbles backward in horror. She rushes to the common room, where a few terrified students have gathered, their eyes wild with confusion. One girl, shaking uncontrollably, whispers, "The exit isn't there anymore. It's all different." Alicia looks around and realizes she's right. The layout of the hostel has changed. Hallways are longer, rooms are misplaced, and the stairs now lead in circles. The building is alive, shifting, closing in, reshaping itself. They try to call for help, but every phone shows the same message. No signal. Network unavailable. When Alicia dials anyway, she hears faint static, followed by Zoya's voice whispering, "You can't leave." Panic spreads fast. One of the students tries to break through a back door, but the moment she touches it, her skin burns, deep black marks appearing across her hands. She screams, collapsing as the walls pulse softly, almost breathing in rhythm. Alicia realizes they're trapped inside Nashin's curse. The building is now a labyrinth feeding on their fear. Every attempt to escape only strengthens it. In desperation, she shouts into the emptiness, "What do you want from us?" The air trembles. A low voice answers from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I just want you to look up." The lights go out completely, and somewhere in the darkness, dozens of heads begin to rise, slowly. Darkness engulfs St. Helena's hostel. The walls pulse faintly, as if veins of shadow run through them. The terrified girls huddle in the common room, whispering prayers. Alicia sits apart, trembling, her mind racing. The voice, Nashin's voice, still echoes in her head. "I just want you to look up." She realizes the curse is reaching its peak. Soon, none of them will remain themselves. Digging through her backpack, Alicia retrieves the old register she found earlier. She flips through its final pages again, desperate for a clue. There, hidden beneath the torn photograph, she finds a page written entirely in red ink. It's not an entry, it's a ritual. The handwriting is frantic, uneven. The spirit that feeds must be faced, not feared. Do not flee. Do not scream. To end the curse, one must bear her sight willingly and speak her name with truth. Alicia understands the meaning. Nashin's torment has survived because everyone feared her face. Her curse lives through avoidance. The only way to stop her is to face her, completely, without fear. But doing so means death. Still, Alicia decides she has no choice. She convinces the remaining girls to hide while she returns to room 23. The corridor is eerily silent now. Even the whispers have stopped, as if the entire hostel is holding its breath. When she enters the room, she finds Zoya sitting in the center, head bowed, unmoving. The walls shimmer with faint outlines, the trapped souls watching. Alicia steps forward, her heart pounding, and whispers, Nashina boss. I'm not afraid of you. The air quivers. Zoya's body lifts slightly off the ground. A distorted voice replies, Then look at me. Alicia closes her eyes for a moment, then forces them open. As she looks up, the curse begins to unravel, and reality starts to tear apart. Alicia stands frozen as the air turns dense around her. The walls of room 23 pulse like living flesh, the sound of slow, rhythmic breathing echoing all around. In the center, Zoya's levitating body twists unnaturally. Her neck jerks, bones crack, and from the shadowed space where her face should be, Nashin's presence emerges, not as flesh, but as reflection. Every surface, the floor tiles, the window glass, even the dust motes in the air, begin to shimmer like mirrors. Nashin's distorted reflection appears in each of them, whispering in unison. Do you see me now? Alicia fights the primal urge to look away. The room begins to warp, reflections multiplying infinitely, all filled with Nashin's faint, twitching grin. Every mirror shows a different version of her. In one, she's crying. In another, she's screaming. In another, she's covered in blood. As Alicia steps closer, she begins to see fragments of Nashin's past through the reflections. A lonely girl bullied and mocked, her face always hidden, her silence mistaken for malice. She was locked in this very hostile room decades ago, forced to live in isolation until madness claimed her. When she finally died, she cursed the place, vowing that no one who entered would ever lift their head again, because she could not bear to see faces that looked away from her. Alicia realizes the truth. Nashin was never a monster by choice. She was made into one by cruelty. Gathering her courage, Alicia faces the reflection directly and says softly, I see you, Nashin. You were never invisible. The mirrors shatter, one by one, with a deafening sound that shakes the entire building. Zoya collapses to the ground, gasping. The shadows pull back, and for a brief moment, Nashin's reflection smiles with peace before fading completely. Alicia kneels beside Zoya, trembling. But as she turns toward the broken glass, a single reflection still smiles back, one eye still open. The storm outside has quieted, and for the first time, St. Helena's hostel feels still. The remaining girls gather in the main hall, dazed but alive. Alicia, her hands trembling, tells them, it's over. But her voice lacks conviction. The air carries a strange vibration, a hum just beneath hearing. It feels like something breathing through the wooden floorboards. Zoya, weak but conscious, begins to mutter in her sleep. Her words are not her own. Alicia leans close and hears the whisper. She was never alone. Before Alicia can respond, the lights flicker. Faint sparks pulse across the walls as if veins of static run through the structure. The mirrors may have shattered, but something older than Nashin still lingers. The curse, it seems, was not born from her, but through her, a vessel for a force that predates the hostel itself. Following the hum, Alicia descends into the basement, a place no one has entered in decades. The air is cold, the walls slick with moisture. At the far end lies a sealed iron door half buried under rubble. Scratched into the surface are symbols, circular marks similar to those seen in the register's final pages. When Alicia brushes her hand across the door, the humming stops, and a low heartbeat begins. The air thickens. She stumbles back, eyes wide. Something behind the door moves. A voice, deep, ancient, and not human, murmurs her name. Zoya suddenly appears behind her, eyes glassy. You woke it up, she whispers. The floor trembles. Dust falls from the ceiling. The heartbeat grows louder, shaking the ground. Alicia turns toward the stairs, shouting for the others, but the basement door slams shut on its own. The walls groan as dark cracks spread across the floor, and a single phrase echoes from beneath. Not Nashin's voice this time, but something far more powerful. The eyes are open again. The trembling stops, and for a moment, silence takes over St. Helena's hostel. A silence so deep it feels like the air itself has vanished. Alicia stands frozen in the basement, staring at the cracked iron door. It pulses faintly, like the skin of something breathing. Each pulse sends a ripple through the floor, and the old structure above groans as if it's alive. Upstairs, The remaining girls sense the change. The walls, once dead and dusty, now seem to move. Paint peels back in circular patterns, and veins of dark fluid creep across the plaster. The entire hostel begins to beat softly, like a heart returning to life. Alicia presses her ear to the floor. She hears whispers, not voices, but a rhythm of breathing and sighs blending into the sound of wind. She suddenly understands. The hostel is not just cursed, it's alive. And whatever was sealed beneath that door isn't a ghost. It's the core of its existence. Nashin's curse wasn't born here. It was drawn here, feeding on the hostel's hunger for despair. Zoya stumbles down the stairs, clutching her head. "It's in me," she says through gritted teeth. Her eyes flicker with black veins spreading beneath the skin. The hostel has chosen her as its next vessel, the new keeper of its darkness. Alicia grabs her shoulders, shouting her name, but Zoya's voice changes, deep, echoing, layered with something ancient. "You broke the mirrors," the voice says. "You opened the way." The cracks on the floor widen, and faint light, not warm but a pulsing red glow, seeps from below. The heartbeat quickens, shaking the walls violently. Alicia realizes the truth. Destroying Nashin's spirit only freed the real entity, something that was waiting for centuries. The hostel's foundation begins to split apart as she screams for the others to run. And in the darkness, a single eye, massive and red, opens beneath the floor. The ground shakes violently as the eye beneath the hostel opens wider, its pulsating red glow flooding the basement. Alicia stumbles backward, shielding her face from the blinding light. The air fills with a low, thunderous hum, the heartbeat of something ancient and colossal. The cracks in the floor widen, revealing a shifting, living mass beneath the foundations, like roots of blood and shadow stretching endlessly downward. Zoya stands at the center of it all, her body trembling as black veins crawl up her neck. Her eyes are no longer her own. They shine the same red as the entity's gaze. "It's awake," she whispers, her voice layered with dozens of others. It remembers. Alicia realizes what has happened. Nashin's curse had been a barrier, not the cause. When Alicia broke it, she freed the true prisoner, a being sealed centuries ago by the founders of St. Helena's. The hostel was built over its resting place to contain it, feeding it with human misery to keep it dormant. Now that the curse is gone, the creature hungers freely. Upstairs, the building begins to collapse. The girls scream as doors slam shut, trapping them inside. Walls pulse like flesh, shadows twist into shapes with glowing eyes. The hostel isn't dying, it's transforming, returning to its original, monstrous form. Alicia faces Zoya, shouting, "You have to fight it." But Zoya smiles faintly, her voice calm and terrifying. "There is no fighting what made us." Desperate, Alicia grabs the old register, now glowing faintly red, and flips through its final pages. There's one unfinished ritual, the offering of the living. She realizes what it means. Someone must willingly bind themselves to the entity again, sealing it through blood and consciousness. The red light intensifies. Zoya's body levitates as the creature's full form begins to rise through the floor. Alicia has seconds to decide. Flee and let it consume the world, or sacrifice herself to imprison it forever. The heartbeat. The red light fills every corner of St. Helena's hostel. The walls, floor, and ceiling pulse in unison, alive, breathing, and aware. The ancient entity has awakened completely, its form towering beneath the shattered basement. Its single eye gazes upward, and every reflection, every shadow, every drop of blood vibrates to its rhythm. Alicia clutches the register, trembling. The unfinished ritual's meaning is now clear. The curse must continue, but under a new keeper. Only a living soul, offered willingly, can reseal the creature. She looks at Zoya, whose body is now little more than a vessel of crimson light. "You don't have to do this," Alicia whispers. Zoya's reply comes in two voices, one human, one monstrous. "It's too late for me, but not for you." For a fleeting moment, Alicia sees Zoya's real eyes flicker through the darkness, pleading silently for release. The creature beneath roars, not with sound, but with emotion, hunger, rage, memory. The entire hostel begins to collapse into the glowing abyss below. Alicia opens the register, places her bleeding palm on the page, and speaks the final words of the ritual aloud. Her voice echoes through the ruins. I bind the eye, the heart, and the breath. Through my name, you sleep again. A blinding surge of light explodes from her chest. Zoya's body falls lifeless, and the monstrous form below begins to crumble, its red glow fading into darkness. The walls still, the heartbeat ceases, and an unnatural silence blankets everything. When the dust clears, the hostel stands eerily quiet, untouched, restored, as if nothing ever happened. Morning arrives. The police find no trace of Alicia or the other girls, except for one blood-stained register on the floor of room 23. The last page glows faintly, freshly written in Alicia's hand. The eyes must never close completely. Someone must always watch. As the camera pans out, the hostel's front door creaks open by itself, and a faint red light flick.